few weeks ago, Lamine Yamal stepped up to take a penalty against Celta Vigo. He scored, and then a few moments later he went down, clutching his hamstring. And in that moment when I watched him on the ground, in pain, something hit me. Not just concern about his injury, but this feeling that we've been building towards this for a very long time. And that the people responsible for protecting him had been failing him long before that penalty. Because to put it simply, at the end of the day, Lamine Yamal is just playing too much football. So let's just start with the actual numbers. By his 18th birthday last year, Yamal had already played 130 professional matches, over 8,000 minutes of senior football, before he could even drink a beer. And I know what people might say, he's exceptional, he can handle it. But that's kind of missing the point, because if we were to look at the players that came before him, the same generational talents, they had nowhere near this level of exposure. Like Jude Bellingham, who people already say was overworked as a teenager, had around 6,000 minutes by his 18th birthday. Gavi had just 4,000. Pedri had under 4,000. And Iniesta, one of the greatest midfielders to play the game, had only featured 40 times at that age. Yamal had more than triple that. I mean, come on, these aren't just small differences. These are massive gaps in physical load when a footballer's body is still developing. And this season has just piled on top of that. In La Liga alone, he started 26 out of 28 matches of Barcelona. And then if we add in the Champions League, the Copa del Rey, and international football, the kid has literally been playing non-stop since he was 15 years old. And honestly, I think what's the saddest part about all of this is that Barcelona, his home team, is doing so much damage to him. You know, watch any Barcelona game this season and it's obvious. Everything goes through Yamal. When he's on the ball, something is happening. And when he's not, Barcelona look kind of average. He leads La Liga in completed take-ons this season, and it isn't close. He's also top for big chances created. Even just take a look at this. If we were to look at some of the Barcelona players' FOTMOB rating, well, Lewandowski, who's 37 years old and one of the best strikers in the world, averages a 6.9. Rafinha, who finished 5th in the Ballon d'Or last season, averages a 7.7. And Pedri, who has arguably been the second best player at Barcelona this season, averages a 7.8. I mean, these are world-class players. But then there's Lamine, who sits at an 8.3 at 18 years old. On average, he is literally 10% better than the players around him. And the funny thing is, Barcelona are one of the best teams in Europe right now. They're leading the La Liga. So what Yamal's doing isn't just impressive, it's honestly absurd. He's not just a star player on a great team, he is the reason the team is great. And Flick has actually let a lot of things slip that tell you a lot about the situation. Earlier this season, after a Copa del Rey match against Atleti, he openly admitted that keeping Pedri on for 90 minutes was a risk he knew he was taking. He said it like it was just a part of the job. And if that's how decisions are made about Pedri, you honestly have to wonder what's being made about Yamal behind closed doors. Because if we look back, Yamal has been playing through pain at various points this season. A groin problem earlier in the campaign, which literally happens because of fatigue, and now a torn hamstring, which has completely ended his season. And the moment that really got me, the moment that should have been so much bigger than it actually was when Flick went public earlier this season after Yamal came back from international duty. He said that Yamal had gone to the national team and taken painkillers to play, that he played nearly 80 minutes in one game and in the next 70. I mean, a manager telling the press that an 18-year-old has been given painkillers to play. That's crazy, and people just moved on from that. That's wild to me. They literally don't care about his health, they just wanted to keep performing. Which brings me to Spain, because honestly this is the part that frustrates me the most. De La Fuente has 26 players in his squad, world-class players in every position. I mean, Spain are the reigning European champions, and if we were to look at the rankings, they rank second in the world. Yet Yamal has been called up every single window and started almost every single game, and played heavy minutes in matches where resting him was completely an option. As I said earlier, Hansi Flick went public with his frustration, but De La Fuente's response, who was the manager of Spain, was kinda weird. He said, "I'm surprised, I expected more empathy from a fellow manager." That's it, no acknowledgement of the concern. Not even like a "we hear you, we'll be more careful." Just a slightly offended deflection. And to me, that tells me everything about where the next priority is. It's not Lamine's health, it's the next result. And the World Cup plan they've outlined makes this even clearer. The idea is to ease him back slowly, use him as an impact sub in the group games, and to build him up for the knockouts. Which on paper Sounds pretty good, but if you think about it, what they're actually describing is a player who just tore his hamstring, rushing to recovery to make the squad, and then managing his minutes at the World Cup. It's just a more careful version of what they've already done in the past. Now, to go back to Barcelona, the scary thing is this isn't even a new story. They've done it before with Pedri. Look, Pedri burst onto the scene, immediately got thrown into a full La Liga season, and the Euros with Spain, then the Olympics, all in 1 year. By the end of it, he was literally physically done, and then naturally the injuries began. Hamstrings, quads, season after season. And then if you ask any journalist, any sports commentator, the conclusion is pretty simple. He played too much football at a young age. Literally, his body didn't finish developing and they just ran him into the ground. By the way, Pedri was 18 when it happened. Yamal is 18 right now. And it wasn't just Pedri. Gavi suffered an ACL in a meaningless international friendly. Ansu Fati went from being the most exciting teenager in Europe to barely being able to stay fit. 3 Barcelona prodigies in a row that never really reached their potential. And then Yamal, who is clearly more talented than all of them, looks like he's going down the same route. I mean, this is clearly not bad luck. He's literally getting ran into the ground. And honestly, the problem even goes deeper than Barcelona and Spain. Lamine Yamal's face is on billboards. He's in global ad campaigns. He's one of the most commercially valuable athletes in the world. I mean, he just starred in an Adidas ad with Jude Bellingham, Timothée Chalamet, and Lionel Messi. And the people that profit from his image aren't dealing with the consequences of his hamstring tears. He is. And football have honestly made it pretty clear that sometimes they don't really care about players' health. I mean, just look at the past few years. FIFA brought back the Club World Cup. They also expanded the FIFA World Cup from 32 to 48 teams. Even UEFA expanded the Champions League. Every single one of those decisions wasn't made to make more football, it was made to make more money. Do you think any of those guys really care about Lamine Yamal's health? So what does actually protecting Yamal look like? Well, for me, Barcelona and Spain actually have to come together and work on something more concrete. Probably a hard limit on his minutes this season, and genuine rest between campaigns. And then there's the option of the FIFA World Cup. Look, as much as everyone wants to see Lamine Yamal playing his heart out, he literally just tore his hamstring, and throwing him into a demanding tournament like that is pretty dangerous. I think he should still play, but definitely a very limited amount. And also the thing with hamstring injuries is that they leave scar tissue, and that scar tissue can make the next injury even more likely. Like we've seen it time and time again when players come back from an injury and then they just get injured again. So even though Lamine Yamal might be the most gifted footballer I've ever seen, and I genuinely believe that if everything goes right, he could be the greatest footballer of all time, the people around him need to start treating him like a human being with a body that has limits, rather than like a financial asset that has to be maximized. Because right now, that's not what's happening, and that worries me.